Hey, Moons, I know that Adam Simpson, ex-Hawthorn assistant coach, and at Hawthorn they used to play Burgoyne or Hodge on the resting West Coast ruckman. So he might have taken that out and thought they could get some drive out of that and cover that position.
Back to the two best ruckmen in the business, Sandlands and Nat Nui. Nat Nui almost a secondary takeaway, and Fife spins out of trouble. Bangs it long inside 50 immediately. Ballantyne into the game. Brown gets there first.
Pacer Brown.
Clever fumble.
Pacer Brown there.
Extremely clever fumble.
Pacer Brown there is able to restrict Ballantyne's access to the footy. Now, I reckon that's why they've made that matchup, because he's so dangerous when the ball gets over the top and it's a sprint race back to the ball, back to goal. Brown can cover that straight line race.
Brown again. Couldn't do the same thing again and fumble. It would have been too obvious. He kicks it out on the full. West Coast by 5 points. Fremantle, if you've just joined us, has led today, but only for a brief period, to the square. Sandlands, Nat Nui. Sandlands again, caught, gang tackled. Tries to dribble it away. And again, there's 15 players around him, ball up. Not a bad spot for a ball up, though. Too far away for West Coast to try and knock it through. Can't knock it through on the full anyway. Palm down. Sylvia, slick. Ballantyne. Ooh. No free. Daniel Pearce. Dawson wants to get it by hand again. Duffield, good spot to hit. High. Sandlands. Got the reach. Not quite. McKenzie. Hutchings. West Coast might be out of trouble, although Hill's lurking.
Good take.
Is he within range? Tries the centering kick, the discipline kick. Rosa. Hutchings again bangs it clear. But again, it might be coming back. Unkind bounce for Taberner.
Well done. I think it was Sutcliffe pushed Darling away from that contest, gave him a second run at it.
Daniel Pearce, they can reset. Neither team has jumped with their sub yet.
There's lead-up room. There's a big mass of players deep inside forward 50. There's a line of players a half kick away from Crowley, and then there's lead-up room.
Oh, Barlow had to go at it.
Yeah, he waited, didn't he? Hearn. Barlow trying to make amends now. Flicks it out. Pearce gets it on the boot. Pavlich. Brown got back, knocked to the ground. Sylvia gives it up. Ballantyne, the shimmy, the shake, and does he put it through? Bounces it on its end.
Off swing.
And they're back in front.
We've been talking about it all day, haven't we? And he looks dangerous. We've got a West Coast Eagles.
That's
player.
Mitch Brown, boys. Looked like he's done his knee. Someone came, I think it was Pavlich, came across his leg.
Oh,
yeah, well, I think he might have even fallen on top of
Get a
Pav.
look at it here. Oh, there you go.
Oh, what happened?
Come across him. Yeah. Yeah, he got two bodies come across him. I reckon they've just taken the leg. Watch his right leg.
Oh, when he landed there. Still down in the hands.
Clever goal. But the concern now is with Mitch Brown. He's had this issue before. I don't know, Roo, whether it was this knee that he's injured in the past. But you hate to see that. Young fella who's for a while been third in line for a tall backman position, although today he's playing on Ballantyne. So watch his right leg, bodies clash with it. Bangs, friendly
I think
fight.
it's just get squashed there that might have done it. Maybe.
They had a full knee Rico back in 2010, injured in a Collingwood practice match. And with no Darren Glass, they can't really afford to lose Mitch Brown unless they can lure Glass out of retirement.
The stats of doing your knee again are quite unbelievable, really. Not necessarily the same knee, but one or the other. You've got greater than 1 in 4 chance. I think it's about 27% chance of doing a knee again once you've done one. So, and even greater chance if you're over 6'3". So,
the Browns aren't having a good time with this year. Nathan Brown hurt his shoulder at Collingwood earlier this season, and he does not look like coming back for the rest of season 2014.
Sorry, John O'Brien into that too.
At least he's not one of the twins, though, of course.
There's Darren Glass in the stand now, obviously very concerned onlooker.
Will they coax him back out of retirement?
Well, if they win today, they might, because he's still a chance to play finals. If they don't win today, you'd think highly unlikely that they could make it, but maybe Glass's injuries, he can't come back. I'm not sure how bad that is.
The body strikes the inside of the right lower leg. Now, does that twist the knee, or is it when the right leg plants on the ground again?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
And the momentum of the body turned because of that contact.
Who's going to stand Valentine now?
He's looking up to the skies there, Brown, and thinking, what did I do to deserve this? I hate seeing that. Hate seeing it. Darren Glass again, looking into the sun, looking into his team's fortunes.
Talked about the footy god before and said it doesn't always get it right. He hasn't this time.
Mitch Brown doesn't seem to be in tremendous pain, and there's no read on that. Some guys do them and they're writhing in agony, and some guys are in need of a complete knee reconstruction, and it's like they've got a...
Ones that Simon Dragenza, my old team, had actually played the next week and then realised he needed a reconstruction.
Unbelievable, yeah.
So there's Sam Butler, just his 4th game of the year. There's Darren Glass. Whether they try and coax him out of retirement or not. The West Coast Eagles are behind again behind.
Oh, Red.
Can they hit back?
Great spoil.
Nat Nui gets there, ridden a little, got it up to Bennell.
Good give.
And Mundy to Fife. Clark, all the momentum now with Fremantle. Kicked 3 goals in the Derby earlier this year, round 7. Most goals kicked in that one. It was a low-scoring Derby, that 11 goals to 7. Fremantle 1.
McGinnity has gone to stand next to Ballantyne now on this kick. That might... No, that's going left to right.
Breeze at their back too, boys, here. So we've got the distance easy enough. Tough time now for the West Coast Eagles. Just got to hold tight. They've been holding tight all game, been strong. But Freo have had all 5 inside 50s in this 3rd quarter.
It's an early read yet, Moons, but... Oh, hang on, this could go right over. No,
Schofield. Good luck.
Oh, gee, you're not going to pay it.
I had to pay it.
Oh, so, Moons, it's an early read for the first 3 minutes of this last quarter, 3rd quarter.
That's a mark.
How is it
What's
there?
happened there?
Should be. How are you seeing the midfield battle?
Look, I think from West Coast point of view, we saw them in that first half. They didn't just do these bombs out. This is what we spoke about at the start of the game. You can't do these types of kicks because Fremantle do get their wall up. But they got one out here, boys.
Yeah, Nat Nui was clever there. To Wellingham, to Rosa. Play on, hit the deck. McGovern told to get going. Chewy half held. Spur runs back. Gives it to Dawson. Made it his problem. Ibbotson tried to get through traffic.
Good pressure by the Eagles.
Duffield goes back. He's coming off a 20 possession first half. Paul Duffield. But Barlow, back pocket, held up. All the way back to Sutcliffe.
This is simple for the Dockers. When you allow them to do this, you let the pressure off. And this is just ability to have, keep running, keep the pressure on. Well done, Schofield.
And Cox lurking on the wing. Needed to bounce kindly. Rosa, Prentice. Front spot, Darling couldn't complete the deal. Barlow again. Darling superb there. Kept that inside 50. Shuey wrapped up, dragged down. Duffield's got him. No Pryor, ball up.
Tried to slip the tackling arm up there, Shuey.
He's the best at it.
He's
close to
great
it.
smother. See, Nat Nui's on screen there. Sandilands was ready for that kick coming forward had it not been smothered.
Ellis front spot had to be given a free. Dragged down by Fife.
Now he can use it. Don't handball off. Use the ball to advantage by foot. He's a beautiful kick.
Knows he's beyond his range and he sets it up. Top of the square. Chance for the leapers. McGovern, big piece of it.
2 hands.
Huge piece of it. Brought it down. Fights on. Darling's in there. Umpire will ball it up, and this time it's in a good spot for a ball up for the West Coast.
Got 2 hands on this McGovern.
Oh, he was clearly there.
Oh, it's a hard hit on the base of the palm.
Coxie said he can jump at him before the game, didn't he?
Yeah. He's brave in the air, that boy.
20 players around this ball. Squeezed out. Lacroix through hands.
Little snick of the hands on the way through anyway, had it even been on target. So tell us a little bit how this is panning out now. This kick in and how they move it, whether they can get 2 or 3 possessions.
The only problem with that end, guys, the sun is setting right in your face in this third quarter. It's a horrible quarter to be a forward down this end. But Butler is also coming on. The sub has been made, Danny, guys. He's just made his just about to make his way onto the ground.
Okay, so Butler to come on. They still have Clancy Pearce up their sleeve. Fremantle as their sub. Mitch Brown off. Knee injury.
Well, fingers crossed for Mitch Brown from here in.
1 point in it. Clark doing the ruck work. Straight down to Lacroix. Puts it back to the hot spot. Nat knew he got there. Couldn't take the mark. McGovern. Well, a handball target was there for him. He fumbled it twice. Duffield to Ibbotson. Scrambles it away. Bennell gets there first. He fumbles a little and he puts it over the line. To the applause.
Well, good pressure by the Dockers. The Dockers only allow their opposition, their opponents for the year, go at 52% scoring accuracy. They're the 17th best at it, so they put so much pressure on the opposition. They're always inaccurate, and West Coast Eagles are 5 goals 10 today.
Yeah, 5 more scoring shots and they're down the West Coast.
That Bennell fumble over the boundary line, and people will say Valentine is this and is that. His work rate and effort to just run to the back of Bennell and just... Bennell knew he was being zoned in on and honed in by Valentine and forced that error.
Lacroix scrambles it inside 50. Taberner, handball. And Spur just bangs it away in hope. McKenzie drags it down to ground. McGinnity, slick hands. Ellis, Cox. Spur got there first. Takes them on brilliantly. Neal. And it opens up. If Main can get this one. Dumped away by Schofield. Down to Gaff, to Pritis, all the way back to Hearn. He's got Bennell this time, and this time he doesn't fumble.
Kennedy fell over.
Kicks to the pocket. Kennedy couldn't get there. And Dawson in the hole. Again, he'll want to handball this off, you'd think.
Just on this side of the ground. See how the shade's covering this side of the ground? It stays damper underfoot just a little bit longer. And Kennedy went for a quick push-off, and the turf gave way, softer, and he just fell to the ground, and that's why Dawson got there by himself.
Pearce. Pavlich.
Pressure.
Hill. Back to Pavlich. Rose a good knock on. Cox gets there to lay a tackle on Clark. Pearce on his left. Tucked up against the boundary. Hits Subin who can go. He's got Sandlin's forward. Fife realises that now. All Main. Goes Main short. Sandlin's still in the square. All on his own. Doesn't need him.
That's a good decision. He was too close to the man on the mark, and he only had time to withdraw 2 paces, maybe 3, Roo, and that still was going to be smothered by Schofield had he tried and get it over the top. Well, look at it on this angle. Right now, he's closing in on the mark, well marked. You see the players running back to get to Sandland, so rather than rush it and create an error, he backs himself in from here. He's a wonderful converter from a set shot.
I reckon he was the best in the comp 2 years ago. I reckon he's been overtaken by Jay Schultz and Luke Bruce.
It gets under it, but it's straight. Biggest lead of the game for Fremantle. For the first time, they lead by 7.
This is the danger period now for the Eagles. They've got to get the 3-quarter time, Roo, and still believe and not be overrun in this quarter especially.
Yeah, they don't look like getting overrun. They're still getting the ball and they're still having the inside 50s. And
within 2 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're still right in at the West Coast Eagles. This is still game on. They just need to use the ball a little bit better. They're going at 30% by foot in this third quarter, so not giving their forwards any chance.
You see, the ball was so much in the West Coast Eagles forward line, and Fremantle just absorbed that pressure. One time down the other end on the quick burst, and they goal.
Barlow. They've put their foot down here, Fremantle. West Coast have led this game by a couple of kicks a couple of times. This is the first time.
This is what Dwayne, this is what we saw a little while ago against the Suns. When the West Coast Eagles midfield gets fatigued, you get the option, the ability to pass the ball around and hit up targets at will. They've just got to hang tight, hang tough.
Clark, Sandlands are all down there. Ballantyne to Crummett. Mundy, some sort of handball. Sandlands. Main, Ballantyne couldn't get his feet to ball. Was it ball? Did he find his toe? Duffield smothered across the line.
Brilliant tackle was superb on Ballantyne. Took him down there from behind without pushing him in the back. Just rolled him away from it. Great tackle, great defence.
Fremantle chant rings around Patterson Stadium again. Hearn, big long bomb. Cox up. Clark with the fist. They'll take that to West Coast. They're outside defence in Twitchy. They can reset.
Well, what does he get? The goal square. What's that, 15 metres? And he's 10-metre goal square. And he's 75 from goal. He's kicked at 65.
Could head to America, couldn't he, nearly?
That's a big kick.
Rosa jumped on. Turned. Shuey got it up. Butler the sub on. Marston dumped. They couldn't pay holding the ball against him then, but they didn't to Ballantyne moments earlier for not finding his toe with the ball. Hands and knees Cox. Wellingham, they still believe the West Coast, but they know they're going to probably have to kick 11 goals to win it. And right now they've only got 5. Mzungu, he parts the seas, spears it. Top of the square, Hearn got there. Took it on the shoulder, McKenzie, danger, Barlow, Neal, rolls it, and tumbles it through.
Well, they're splitting the game open here at Freo at the moment. In the third quarter, they've come out. They've had more than twice the amount of disposals that the Eagles had, 66 to 30, in fact, and they're starting to really put pressure on. You can see tackles here. Just got the ball, just kept it moving forward. There's the fumble again by Ellis. Gave him a chance. Neal got it out and kicked a ripper goal. It's 3-2 to zip in this third quarter, the premiership quarter.
Came of age in the Derby earlier this year when he won the Ross Glendinning medal. Lachie Neale coming off a career high 34 possession game last week as well. He's in good form, back in the middle. Biggest lead of the game to either team now, 14 points. Main,
good charge.
Inspiring. Mundy, he can size them up, takes some time, bangs it long, didn't hit it all that well. I'll take that.
They've won all 4 centre clearances this quarter, Freo. Really stepped it up in there.
Well, if Sandlands makes his way down here now, if he gets a hit out to advantage, look out.
Cox. And Cox has never been so vulnerable. Sandlands knocks it down to Marston. 360 sling, trouble. Umpire circling.
Gee, that's
gives
kind.
him a break.
That's kind.
Yeah, for Sandlands right now. Dean Cox, one of the all-time greats, the greatest West Coast ruckman ever. But he's vulnerable for Sandlands now.
Look at the hunt on this ball.
Barlow, Hill, put it in the book. They lead by 20.
Well, this is the best season I've seen Stephen Hill play, Dern. Not getting tagged as much now because Fife's drawing that attention, but they are just scoring here at will at the moment. It's really starting to open up. The leg speed, the depth of the midfield is just starting to get a little bit too much for the West Coast Eagles.
Shepherd gets caught inside the middle of the pack there, Stephen Hill's opponent. Gee, that bounce almost went back over his ear.
Had enough time to gather the fumble and kick the goal. 20 touches and 2 goals for Stephen Hill. He is a superstar. Very hard to match up on. Give him time and space and he will kill you.
And they pumped up the volume here at Patterson Stadium, Freo. And the West Coast Eagles season is teetering on the brink here. Fremantle trying to hunt back their top 4 spot.
Already, West Coast have retained their 6 defenders, and already the Dockers are just playing a 3-man, 4-man forward line and rolling the others up into the midfield back line.
Shepherd wide. Marston, unkind bounce. Duffield corrals him. Pushes away. Hutchings. McKenzie, trouble again. Main. And Duffield takes it to the line.
This is exactly what West Coast weren't doing that first half, boys. They weren't going sideways, they weren't going backwards, they weren't handballing to somebody else under pressure. They were going forward with kicks and marks. Now all of a sudden we're seeing that Fremantle pressure that we spoke about at the start of the game really come up, and West Coast just can't handle it at the moment.
Look at that even. You see Hearn burrow in, you get Fife, Crowley and Mundy all lay a tackle. So the intent, the mindset of them is just hunt the opposition at every available opportunity.
Schofield content to take it out. So they held West Coast goalless for the first 21 minutes of the second term and then conceded 1 goal to them late. And again, they've held the West Coast Eagles goalless for the first 21 minutes of this third term, Fremantle. The flick down. Burnell gives it some air. Darling half-held and Kennedy takes the mark. Darling runs now for him. Kennedy looks up.
So he's had to come up to the back flank now, and understanding the moment, has to be the target, has to be the player that gives a relief mark to that mongrel kick that's forced out of the back line.
Butler's going to have to give them those fresh legs. They desperately need him to have an influence. The sub just on, and repeating, Clancy Pearce, the sub for Fremantle, yet to be used. Fantastic pass.
And that's going to give him more run in the last quarter too, Dwayne, with Clancy Pearce fresh. It's 15 scoring shots each, by the way.
Yeah.
And they're 20 points down, the Eagles.
Well, they're just getting a lot of shots at goal, the Dockers, this quarter, within 20 metres.
Darling again held off, it couldn't go, and a good puck dropping back again by McGovern.
Well, they've found another good forward, haven't they? He's going to develop very nicely.
Cox is long forward. It's just sat on the head of Kennedy. Sandlin's easy. To the raw. To Pearce.
Mundy's pushed out. There's a dab kick over the top. Doesn't use it.
Taberner just wants to use it cleverly here.
Safely, I'd say.
Yeah. All the momentum with Fremantle. Clark almost plucks that. Main picks it up and goes. Barlow to Hill. They've lifted 2 gears this quarter.
Good lead up, Sylvia.
West Coast on the canvas now. Their whole season's on the canvas. Main drops back.
This is the best quarter of footy I've seen him play for the season.
Hands it up. Fife. Was he held?
Yep.
You bet he was. Their new star. He's always been a star, but they know they've got him for 3 more years. And the roar's even louder today than it has been all year for Nat Fife.
Probably shouldn't look past that. Main's third quarter here, coming up to meet the footy. His hands have been sure. He's given them that half-forward lead-up target, which they've lacked with his poor form until this point in time. That's a big bonus for the Dockers that he's finding it.
You'll hear the roar. 26 points to margin.
That was his first shot on goal too, Fife. We know he's a goal kicker. We know he can go forward and really push his tagger and take the big high grabs he was held onto here. There was a definite free kick, but Main, you're right, Jim. In lots of ways, he's one of their most important players because he's mobile, he's agile through that half-forward line. He allows Pav to be able to stay deeper as well. And if he can get into real red-hot form, it's going to make their forwards very dangerous.
And just to reconfirm your point on Main, Dermot, last week he had his best possession game of the year, but it was only a 19-possession game. And you're right, he's having a huge influence with minimal possessions again today.
But he's actually gloving the ball cleanly and doing what you want from a half-forward.
I think he felt last week he was getting better. McGovern's been pushed back.
We spoke about the other players who were injured early in the year, not getting form. He was carrying a dodgy ankle, I think it was. So you just got to be super fit. You got to be fully fit.
Here he is on cue. And he got there.
Hard work.
That's hard running.
Either cough that up 4 or 5 weeks, or don't do your ankle, mate.
The other thing he does, which he had forward pressure before we even spoke about forward pressure.
Yeah.
He is brilliant at it. Him and Ballantyne up there.
Sylvia has to jump. They all go up. Shuey flicks it wide. Trouble.
Hot. It's hot.
Absolutely. 15, 20 players around it. There's that drop into a high from Shuey. the trademark.
They can smell blood, the Dockers, can't they?
Absolutely. They're circling. And they're circling big time. Not only is it a win for them to get them into the top 4, but it's a win that could put their main rival for publicity here in WA, almost out of contention for 2014.
Well, the top part of the ladder is going to be real tight too. You'd want to be finishing top 2 because you got Sydney, you got Port, you've got Freo. There's going to be some interstate sides. Hawthorn are going to be up there as well. So you probably don't want to be heading to Sydney or Adelaide, do you, in the first week?
You wouldn't want to be, and if they make it, you wouldn't want to be coming to Perth to play the Dockers here for the first week of finals.
Yeah, and there could be a very good team in 5th come the end of this home and away season. The Cats are 4th right now. They'll be pushed down to 5th by the Dockers if they win here. Kennedy, half forward, wants to play on. He's got Darling short. He might go all the way home. Set sail, puts it long to the square. Clark got back. He waited for the bounce. And it worked out okay. Speaking of Sydney, for the record, West Coast have Sydney next week at the SCG. So if this doesn't end up being a knockout blow, they want to lift their rate next week. Otherwise, that would be.
And that's when you do want your defence nice and strong, isn't it? Up against Sydney. Tippett back this week. Franklin, Reid, Goods. And no Brown by the looks of it, no Glass.
And also, for the record, Fremantle a much kinder run. Their next 4, Melbourne, GWS, St Kilda, Carlton.
Hey, don't you write down the Giants, mate.
No, your Giants are going very well. 5. How's that? Backtrack through traffic. To Main, to Subin.
Good wheels.
They are planning to blow them away here, Fremantle. Down to 4 minutes. Hill goes wide. Ballantyne.
He's run from the forward pocket. He was set up for the kick down line here.
I reckon that glutes are right.
It is now.
McKinney got there. Wrapped up. Kennedy spins out of trouble. Hearn. Lacroix.
Got to run it.
Darling's running back to the square. Lacroix's only option other than getting caught ball.
Look at that. Look at that ball right now. 4-on-1 until Maston gets in there. A 4-on-1 rundown. That's what we talk about, the wall.
It was almost a race between 4 players to get to him.
Yes.
No one said, well, you're going to get him. I'll run off with a handball.
They're a bit scratchy earlier in the year, the Dockers, weren't they?
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying they weren't at their best, but they are just building nicely in the second half of the year, aren't they?
Well, they've won their last 5 games coming into this game.
Good hard run, Mundy.
Fremantle have also won their past 4 derbies. So this will be 5 in a row if they can get up from here.
Just even the way they exhaust teams. Remember I said good run by Mundy. He came from the opposite half-forward flank there. Now, a midfield that's fatigued can't cover that kind of run to receive the footy, and that's why it becomes easier as time goes on in a game to play against the West Coast midfield.
Dwayne, you said if they win today, that's 6 in a row. With that 4, you also mentioned they should win 10 in a row, shouldn't they?
Yeah, well, they'd be tough to beat, no doubt, here. As you said, in a final here at Patterson Stadium, if they finish top 2.
Great kick.
That could be huge. Rosa played on to his disadvantage. Can't try Ibbotson. Pritis. Kennedy plays to the free, doesn't get it. Mzungu takes the mark. 2.5 minutes left to 3/4 time, and they have overpowered the West Coast Eagles in this term. West Coast Eagles still goalless for this quarter, and it's now 29 minutes old.
Freo kick 5, Dwayne.
Pavlich about to rise a little too early, and McKenzie, good grab. Oh, Pav gets the free.
Is that against McGovern backing into him?
Bennell and Sandlands had the reach. Main back to Sandlands. Short to Pearce. Just over his head.
He's a midfield runner now, Big Sandy.
Wellingham back. Pritis. Well, can the West Coast Eagles get themselves a late one to give themselves some hope, to keep the door open, to give them momentum for 3/4 time? Schofield. Burn.
Sit and go. Just wheel and go.
Yeah.
You've got Kennedy on the line, 1 out.
And Kennedy's direction. He's up and he's got it. Is he just beyond his range, though?
Gee, they got numbers back already, Freo. That's what they do so well. 3rd man up.
Cox manhandled off it. Ball hits the deck and it rolls through off a fingernail.
Jeez, God. He's saying no touch, no touch.
It's not an unassailable lead. 24 points in the modern game.
Only problem is, Dwayne, they've only kicked 5 for the for 3 quarters.
And they've only kicked 2 goals in the last 2 quarters. 1 in the second and 1 in this third, which is now only with 1 minute to travel. That could help them. Rosa from just outside 50.
Well, they haven't actually kicked one in this third.
Good point.
4 and 1 in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah,
3 behinds this third quarter.
So 2 goals in the last hour in essence. Hill.
See, this will come back, but the Dockers are so comfortable. They're like the Muhammad Ali who just rope-a-dopes. They go onto the ropes and just absorb the punishment, and it doesn't really affect them. Like long kick in here, they'll absorb it. Sandy gets there. He's got crummers. He's got support.
Prentice, can he set it up? Shuey tries to get away. Tried to pull a high one. Threw it across the line. Allowed to get away with it. 26 seconds left.
Just as they walk back there, Moons, you got a 5-on-2. Go, Moons.
It's just like a well-drilled soccer team that just goes and parks the bus for that last few minutes when they've got that lead, isn't it? They just know exactly where to stand, where to be.
Cox is free. So Cox is free here, Moons. And maybe just beyond his range. The seconds are ticking down.
Hey, Moons, you've done relief ruck work for the Cats against Cox. He is a master at drawing free kicks.
Look, he's just he's arguably the best ruckman I've seen in my time in the game. So he's incredible. And he does it very well. He gets under the armpit. For a big guy, he knows how to get under that armpit and draw the free kick.
Important kick, Cox here.
Well, their chances almost hinge on this kick. He puts it through. They've got life and momentum. Gets plenty on it. It's carrying, it's sailing, it's touched on the line and kept in the field of play. No score. A goalless term again for the West Coast Eagles. And Fremantle have put their foot down and kicked 5 for the quarter. 3-quarter time. 24 points the margin. Fremantle 10, 6, 66. West Coast 5-12, 42.